The reality is Tether is the dollar stablecoin rails for the non-developed world, the non-developed world. That's basically it. I think it's used for capital flight from China through to trade between like Malaysia and Indonesia or whatever it may be, South America. So it's massively used. I mean, Howard Lutnick will say, the Trade and Commerce Secretary of the United States will say, well, they were the largest client of Cantor for buying government bonds. Mm-hmm. The US knows how many bonds they have. So no, it's not an issue anymore. There was something went wrong in the past. And I think they sorted it out. And then ever since then, it's just been FUD.
Tether has become the backbone of digital trade in emerging markets, enabling fast cross-border payments and stable dollar access despite ongoing controversies. Its adoption highlights how stablecoins are reshaping global commerce. Raoul Pal's belief in Bitcoin grew after the 2008 crisis, when traditional finance repeatedly failed. He saw Bitcoin as a transparent, decentralized alternative built for a new era of trust and financial freedom. Now trading near $115,000, Bitcoin continues to gain strength as markets anticipate Fed rate cuts. With crypto, AI, and renewable energy converging, a new wave of innovation and value creation is accelerating worldwide.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
That's the kind of macro 3D giant jigsaw puzzle that lives in your head at all times. When you're looking, when you've kind of got a mental model of the world, and is something coming in that's changing that?
Yeah.
So back in 2008, 2012, I kind of saw the whole financial crisis, the European debt crisis, all of that. And it was in 2012 when I realized you didn't own the money in your bank account and the system didn't know what it owned of collateral anywhere, and that this was a big problem. So I started looking to create the world's safest bank where we could just put our savings in and not have somebody take it away. Because in Cyprus, everybody lost everything.
Yeah.
And this happens repeatedly. Happened to my parents' friends in Spain. And that's when that whole thing failed, because the Dallas Fed, where we are today, told us we couldn't do the project because we would take all the deposits from the banking system. If we had this non-fractionalized reserve bank, i.e. we didn't lend money, we just deposited at the Fed. And that's when I wrote about it in GMI, because they go through that thinking process we talked about. And out of that thinking process comes an email, you need to look at Bitcoin. I'd seen it, I'd heard about it, but I got on a call with these guys, and these guys had been, it's a hedge fund who client of mine, and they had seen it early because they were like doomsday preppers. They managed to get the financial crisis really right, made a lot of money, but were still very doomsday orientated. And they built a crypto exchange called ItBit based in Singapore and the US. They're ex-Goldman guys, so they built a really high quality thing. And they explained it to me. And so I opened an account, bought my Bitcoin at $100, $200, and wrote this macro strategy piece of understanding it. I knew that this answered the problems of the financial system, and this was going to be a parallel financial system. And I just needed to keep my eye on it to see, okay, is my thesis playing out right? So I forced myself to buy it, and I put a decent amount in, considering how risky it was back then. And it 5x'd, 10x'd, and then collapsed 87%, and then went back up. And I got out for 10x profit in the run up to 2017, thinking it was all a bubble, because I wasn't used to these exponential assets. It then I sold at 2,000. It went up to 20,000 9 months later. I'm like, oh my God. But I was like, fine, I've made a 10x, right? Good trade. Then it fell 80% again. And then I bought it again. And then I've been in ever since.
Tether has become the backbone of digital trade across emerging markets, offering stable dollar access and seamless cross-border payments despite past controversies. Its rapid adoption shows how stablecoins are transforming global commerce, while Bitcoin continues to lead the charge as a symbol of financial independence and innovation. Raoul Pal's belief in Bitcoin began after witnessing the 2008 financial crisis and the failures of traditional banking. Today, with Bitcoin trading near $115,000 and optimism building around potential Fed rate cuts, the crypto market stands at the center of a new economic era driven by blockchain, AI, and renewable energy.
But so the thesis was, here's something so disruptive we can't understand. AI was clearly that. Yeah, it just brought super intelligence into the world. It was clearly that. So who was it going to affect? Well, clearly it was going to affect Google because they invented this stuff, really. And clearly Facebook want to get involved. So you've got easy trades to do. Oh, everybody needs NVIDIA chips, or just buy the semis, SMH, real easy ETF. So that becomes, it's really simple when something really big has changed.
Yeah.
But let's say you're trading oil. I remember trading that one back in the 90s. It had been trending and trending and trending lower into 99. We had the recession and oil was trading at $9. And you're starting to think, this doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
And that was a good trade to get that, because you then started to see what came out of that was the growth of China. It's like suddenly world demand had changed for this asset.
Mm-hmm.
And so if world demand has shifted, it is going to change the price. And it went from $9 to $147. So that was a great trade. Those come up often. There's like two or three of those a decade that you'll see. Is there a potential one in copper setting up? Because there's a shortage supply of copper, massive demand coming out of data centers, EVs, everything else. I still think the solar one, that's a really interesting one that I've been looking at recently. So we've got AI. It is constrained by energy and compute. We can see that NVIDIA, AMD, everybody is throwing everything at the compute side.
Mm-hmm.
We can see everybody from Oracle to Salesforce to everybody throwing money at the data center side. Okay, we need to drive massive amounts of energy on an aging grid that can't deal with it. So the commodity guys, first thing is, see, oil's going to go up. I'm like, I'm not sure. Yes, there's a bit of extra capacity to come out, but basically the grid's creaking. The need for this AI energy is so urgent because this is the game of nations, right? You cannot afford to get behind in this race. China, America, this AI race. And it's the biggest change of humanity's history, right? So nothing will get in the way, no amount of capital. So how do you get the fastest amount of electricity you could possibly get? Solar. Everyone mid-curves it by saying, yeah, but solar doesn't work during the night. Well, Elon's got batteries. And then you can also just then plug into the grid for those hours, but you've reduced the demands on the grid by 70%. And then you can add gas. So I'm like, okay, solar. And this came up at talking about community. This is a global macro round table a year and a half ago. We talked about solar. And we're looking at the charts, like not bottom yet, but it feels like, because this stuff's down 95%. So here's a market down 95% because it had a previous boom bust. Solar is not going away. China has just doubled the world's supply of solar power, double the amount of solar power than the whole world in the last 7 months. Why? Data. And so you've got an information like that. You've got a chart set up where everyone's forgotten about it. Everyone hates solar, thinks it's a piece of shit. And you know it's the only solution that can scale fast enough. I love this second cycle trade. It's called Lindy effect. When something's surviving and it's not going to go out of business and you know you've got future demand, I then go through the solar ETFs and I chose TAN that broadly covers the space. And that's one that I've only just recently written the trade recommendation on. I think that's a 5-year bet. So that's how I kind of piece all these things together.
Tether has become a key stablecoin in emerging markets, enabling cross-border payments and reshaping global trade. Bitcoin continues to lead as a store of value and hedge against traditional markets. Raoul Pal saw Bitcoin's potential after the 2008 financial crisis, and now with BTC near $115,000, its growth is fueled by Fed rate cut hopes and institutional adoption. Crypto, AI, and renewable energy are driving a new wave of innovation. Will Bitcoin continue rising or face a pullback? How crucial are stablecoins like Tether for global finance? Share your thoughts in the comments.